You've been advising James Tallarico, one of the most interesting races, I think, in the country. So you're a little ahead of Arizona in terms of the impact of a Trump endorsement. And a lot of these Republican candidates will be like, I was endorsed by Trump. I'm good. In some districts, they may be. But there are drawbacks, for sure, when it's a swing district. Talk about some of the drawbacks when candidates are carrying around a Trump endorsement.
When you look at the general election and you look at these voters in the middle, I'm not talking about if you got a Let's Go Brandon flag on your boat. I'm not talking if you got a Bernie Sanders tattoo. I'm talking about folks that are just trying to make it every single day. When you have that endorsement, folks, they're watching from afar and they're seeing him tear down a piece of the White House. They see him put his name on everything in this town when all they want are two things is what I'm finding. They want to make more money when they go to work and they want stuff to cost less. And nothing out of this White House is addressing either one of those. And so when that comes up on the teleprompter there where you see that they're endorsed by somebody, that's the first thing that they think of. And in Arizona tonight, watch Arizona's 1st district and 6th district. Both of these two districts could flip to Democrats very easily in the midterms coming up here in just a few months.
Yeah, that is very interesting to watch. I want to ask you, I want to get to Arizona, but I want to ask you about Maine, too, because here we are. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, or less than a couple of weeks ago, time is a space continuum here. I think Democrats were understandably freaked out, right? Obviously, Plattner could not stay in this race for all of the moral reasons, of course. But then it was like, what is this going to look like? Troy Jackson was ahead by 3 points in a poll today. What does his path to victory look like? What does that look like in a state like Maine?
Well, look, you and I know I love my math and I love my models. You cannot model a Democratic United States Senate without Maine. Democrats have got to win Maine. And the way you win Maine is two ways. You win women voters. Susan Collins continues to overperform in a state where Kamala Harris won by 7 points in a Democratic wave year because she can hold on to those women voters. So the suburbs of Portland are the most important place to go. And you've already seen in the very first thing he did, Jackson is out there going straight at this. The second thing are these swing voters, these voters who, as Chuck was saying earlier, don't care about politics. They are cost of living voters, and they are sick of the corruption. Corruption, Jen, nationally has gone from a top 10 issue to the #2 issue in these races. It's now cost of living and corruption. And the way you win in Maine is making very clear why the corruption that's happening in Washington is costing voters real money, tying it to things. You can't talk about reflecting pools in D.C. They don't care. You have to talk about the corruption that costs them money every time they fill up their tank, every time they go to the grocery store, every time they spend money with their kids. That's the way you win in Maine.
I think everybody watching right now wants to know everything about the races and wants to know, can Democrats win the Senate? Because the House is feeling good, though we still got some time to go here. Yep. You're very close to the Texas race. Tell us, for people who haven't been watching it day by day like you have been, what is going on in that race? What is Ken Paxton struggling with? What are the challenges? What should people know about it?
I want to back up and tell you something that was crazy in the primary in Texas. 30% of Democratic primary voters who showed up there, Jim knows this is crazy, had never voted in a Democratic primary, ever. 30%. Of those, 12% of them had a history of voting in a Republican primary. That don't tell you that we're going to win, but it tells you something's really happening. I've been running campaigns for 36 years, going back to Ann Richards. I've seen a lot of Texas races, and I've seen a lot of folks hollering that Texas is going to turn blue. But this year, at this point in time, when you're talking about cost and corruption, you got a guy like James Tallarico who can quote the Bible, but also looks like he just got out of college. And every mama in Texas says, you know what? That looks like a nice young man. James Tallarico, nice young man. This nice young man may be a U.S. senator because he's running one heck of a campaign.
The interesting thing about that is that Texas is a state we last won my senior year in college. I'm now a member of the AARP. But we're on the offense in Texas. We are on the offense in Ohio, in Iowa, in Alaska. All states where Donald Trump won by over 10 points. And the fact that all of those races are tied shows you the momentum and shows you how angry voters are this year.